And we've got all the right in the world on our side. And there ain't no reason to be afraid. And there ain't no reason to not take the challenge dead on. Because I'm going to tell you who we come from, folks. We don't come from some weak, jellyback, spineless people. That's not who we come from. None of us. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what nation your folks hail from, how much money you got. We all share the same name. We are Americans. And at Bunker Hill, there was Americans. And at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, there was Americans. And at Iwo Jima, raising that flag on Suribachi, it was Americans. And at Pork Chop Hill, there was Americans. Quezon, there was Americans. And on 9/11, there was Americans who ran towards those burning buildings. That is who you share your heritage with. You do not share your heritage with a weak and ineffective people who cower at the sight of trouble. You share your heritage with a strong and brave people who are determined to hold on to their freedom and for the freedom of future generations. Guys, it's time for us to stand up and be that generation. It's time for us to stand strong and proud and remember who we are. That we are Americans. And as long as we stand as the vanguard of freedom in this nation, freedom will survive. Not only survive, it will thrive. So guys, it's time to put on our packs. It's time to fix those bayonets. It's time to get ready. We got a fight on our hands. And our fight is not for us, for all those generations that's going to come behind us. Let's save America, folks.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, guys, sorry about the blip in the start of the program. It happens every now and then, but I have to tell you, I'm searching for the word. I'm not really excited about bringing you today's program, because this program and bringing it to you will cause me much pain, grief, and just presenting it and just having to deal with this, frankly. But then again, there's many times we have to face hard things head on. And that's why I say, God help us. What have we become? And I'm offering you a candid confession. This is me relieving a burden on me to just share with you and tell you the truth. And it brings me no pleasure. But sometimes you have to have these conversations for family and friends and people you love and the whole bit, and we have to do with it. In that depressing note, today's program is brought to you by CB Distillery. Get excited because it's 25% off. But you know, when your mood's just not right, you feel off, you feel like crap. Those nights you don't sleep, and I didn't sleep last night, tossing and turning about doing this program. And then the next day, like I am now, you're dragging, you're exhausted. Everything just feels harder. That's where I am. Thank God I actually have CBD from CB Distillery to make a real difference. But for many people, if it's not just sleep, it can be anything. Your body, stress, pain after exercise, mood and focus. CB Distillery has it all. They use the utmost highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. And imagine waking up rested, enjoying your day, without those nagging aches and pains. I used, the CBD last night, got through the night, but I think I stressed a little bit about bringing you this program. But it's for a win. It's not for a loss. It's for a win. And I want everybody to win with CB Distillery solutions. That's why 2 million people trust CB Distillery. Here's a Q code. You can just zap it. You guys know me. My go-to is the roll-on CBD, the bomb right there. That's it. This is life-saving. Ask people in chat. So if you're ready for better sleep, less stress, feeling good in your own skin again, try CBD Distillery. Right now, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Yes, you can. And you got to take advantage of it, especially for that roll-on. CB Distillery. Use the promo code Jovan, 25% off. Promo code Jovan. CBDistillery.com. Your promo code is Jovan, 25% off. Why would you waste it? Don't at all. And by the way, get to thinking about your funds, folks. Get to thinking about your bank accounts. This ties into today, things I show you, so you understand what all the crumble is over and people trying to do and the system trying to do to us. Please go to Jovan Loves Gold with my fine partners at Goldco. Now's the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Gold is at $3,840. I bet you didn't think that when I was telling you at $1,400 and $1,500 and stuff like that. Did you listen? Look, request your free gold and silver kit today. At least get your brain fed to where you know how to make a decision. That's JovanLovesGold.com. JovanLovesGold.com. By the way, right? You might get up to $10,000 in free silver for doing it. Number one, today's program is my candid confession to you. Okay? Period. This has to do with me when I look out across our great country. This has everything to do with me. Dealing with this mess, dealing with the election stuff, already got a thumbs down. Thank you very much. Awesome. Even my haters hate me so much they're here nonstop. Think about that. But I constantly take inventory. And today's one of those days that I think it's appropriate just to be very candid with you. I'm freaking fed up. I'm going to do my best not to cuss this, but I'm just fed up. And it's our own damn fault. Right? It's our own fault. And that's what we're going to talk about. I ask you to have an open mind. I'm going to do it as always. Very few people teach. I teach. I don't harp at. I don't read headlines. I don't throw you conspiracy crap. I just teach. You see it for yourself. You understand how and why it works. You should be able to see the proof. I treat you like the adult in the room. You make your own decision. Okay? That's where we are. And I'm going to share some stuff with you. And it's important. So I want you to share this program right now. It applies to everybody in your life, right? And it affects everybody that will see this broadcast. You got about 1 minute, 41 seconds. Let's get started.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
So you'll see me today battling with my glasses. See my glasses? I can't, I'm unable to hide my emotions. See my glasses? They're steamed. How weird does that look? So I got to take them off because I can't see through the damn things. And then I need them and then I can't see. I'm steamed. I'm steamed, but it's a God thing. It's a good thing. It's a God thing. But I'm telling you right now, God help us. God help us. That is a plea. That is a prayer. That is a petition. God help us. What have we become? What have we become? The very thing all of us gather together to try to have our freedoms and our liberties and everything else. And we're trapped. And we do it to ourselves, right? We do it to ourselves. I sat outside yesterday, just looking off into the mountains, just thinking about the situation we're all in together. Very candidly thinking about how do we move the needle? Now, every one of you are incredible patriots and have busted your ass. Things like to get the, Arizona audit done. That took you. You did that. People now know more than any time in history how our elections work or don't work, what the rules are, how the rat bastards get away with it. That's true moving the needle. But there are things that it doesn't seem like we're moving the needle on. And I look at it. And I've come to the realization, God help us. Because we've become something different. I'm going to show you a few things that kind of tipped my trigger, not triggered me, just tipped my trigger, that made me decide we just got to have a very candid conversation with each other. We really do. I don't know if you've seen this going around, but did you know that John Benet Ramsey is Erica Kurt? Yeah, that's it. See, that's John Benet Ramsey is Erica Kurt. Did you know that? It's a grand cover-up. She has been groomed and trained. They put these people in our lives. That's what they kidnapped her for. Here's the forensic evidence. Look at that. Look, if I twist it, I manipulate it. What? Yes. John Benet Ramsey, we found her. Oh my God. Millions of people will share this crap, but won't even lift a finger to fight the real fight we have to fight in our elections. We are, as a country, addicted to bullshit. We're addicted to bullshit. Bullshit has become the goal of our lives. And we know we want out of this stuff. We know we want out of that stuff, right? And that's why I'm saying God help us, because we are, as a nation, addicted to bullshit. Our minds have become so flaccid, so jelly-like, and the system has Pavlov trained us to chase bullshit when we should be chasing God and the saving of our nation. We really should. One of the other things that's going on as I get into this, I'm going to give you the things that tripped my trigger on this, where I realized we've got to have this, and I'm fighting cussing, the F word. We got to have this discussion, guys, or United States of America is over. We have to have this discussion. We have to have this come to Jesus meeting where we decide what are we going to stand for, what are we going to accept, and who we are. Or we're going to lose it. That's why I say, God help us. What have we become? I'll give you a prime example. You may have seen this. Israel killed Charlie Kirk the day after the story of 2 Israeli snipers bragging about killing children dropped. The goal was to push it out of the news cycle, and it worked. And it's nonstop. We get stuff like this. The lavalier mic is the first thing that explodes. You can literally see it when you go frame by frame. Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Holy shit, Stu Peters. Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Israel modified a DJ microphone that it was attached to his shirt. This could be modified and positioned in a way to eject a projectile from it. Watch the clips. You'll see what I'm talking about. You can even see the clip dislodge from his shirt. Oh, by the way, we all add to this, whether we think so or not. We add to it saying, well, we'll never know. We'll just never know who really killed them. No, we are in so much chaos and in so much turmoil, you don't even know how to identify the truth anymore because so much coming at you is crap. Yes, it was the attachment device. The audio, it blew up in his body, sent the magnet through his neck. And if people really cared, you'd look at the accounts posting it and you'd find out they're relatively new accounts and they're mostly based in Pakistan. But see, people don't do their work. They don't do their work. The world rallied around the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and it brought people back to God. That is what evil doesn't want. When Megyn Kelly sat down with Erica, there was 1 billion views. By the way, if you're tired of the clickbait, you'd leave the accounts. But see, all people say is, I'm tired of the clickbait, but you still follow the accounts. I'm going to show you the cost of that. At a time when people are coming back to God, where we should be. We're chasing squirrels, which is the plan of the system to get us from doing that. And you're watching idiots, total unqualified idiots, put this stuff out. Charlie Kirk was killed by his, not Israel now, his Israeli security team. The case might have been solved. Watch Stu Peters Network. I'm going to show you a piece of this. But first, I want to give you a little bit of background. You see this is basically a Rhodes mic. They're wireless now. You can wear it where you can either have the small part on the outside, which is the magnet, or the big part on the outside. It's interchangeable. It depends upon what you're wearing. And your wardrobe for the day dictates really where you wear it. There's no exact standard, right? But you see, it kind of looks like a pager. Well, if it looks like a pager, it must be a pager. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. Well, this is a wireless microphone. Okay? I'm saying this because there are people in this very broadcast I care your family, and you've been misguided by this, and it's killing me. It's just killing me. It's killing me because I have failed helping you learn discernment. I have failed to the point that you can't even become solid in knowledge and make a decision and stand your ground and defend it. You think, well, we'll never know who killed them. That means I failed. But to what do? Shit, my screen has locked. You might see a temporary pump and dump here for a moment. Hang on. I don't know what happens when that happens, but let me check and make sure I've got my good mic and everything. Let me know you still have me. You still have me on the screen? Let me know. Okay. Let me get through my program. You can ask questions at the end. I'll be glad to do your questions at the end, but let me just kind of get through this because I need to show you a few things. Okay. I need you to use discernment. I need you not to use words people put out there and shit. I just want you to understand what you see. And sometimes you have to go a little bit further. This is a microphone with a magnet clips to a shirt. People are saying in trying to do this, you got to hate Israel stuff, which is a con. They're trying to now relay Charlie's death, which has brought the churches were filled across our country, folks. Charlie Kirk had 3,500 affiliates across the country. Now it's pushing 100,000. Satan's pissed. Because it backfired. Do we got somebody in here talking about the shot and here it is and look at the trajectory? You know what? Shut the hell up. Maybe if you listened, instead of trying to pontificate what other people told you, if you listened, you would learn. Shut up with the comments. Lock down, shut the hell up, focus, learn something, and then come at me all you want. I'll give you the floor. Okay? I'll give you the floor. But learn first. Is that okay? Is that okay? You got two choices. Shut the hell up. I'm talking to chat and learn, and then you can come at me, or you're gone, because we're here to learn. And the problem is the system wants other people interrupting, interjecting, doing this. Well, doobie-doo, doobie-doobie-doobie, doobie-doobie-doobie-doo. Stop it. Learn. Now, let me show you how people work visually. Okay? People work visually nonstop. Yes, this looks like the old pagers we used to have. It's got a microphone, right? It's got a jack where they can jack into the system if it has to go hardwire, etc. it connects by a magnet. But yeah, it looks a lot like a pager. Well, we know that Israel did exploding pagers on Hamas. Let me show you what that looks like, okay?
Focus on the man in the checked shirt. In a moment, he's on the floor, wounded in the midriff. A pager in his bag or on his belt has exploded. CCTV from another shop shows a man check his pager before it too blows up at his side. Scenes like this playing out hundreds of times across Lebanon within the space of an hour. A targeted, coordinated, highly technical attack.
These pagers exploded while people were on the road, going about their daily lives, basically, in supermarkets.
So are you able to see that? Is everybody able to see that? It's very simple. I want you to look at what really did happen in history, because all psychological warfare is based in something real. They use it to get you to the next one. Is that okay? Right? And I'm only using Charlie Kirk to prove a point so I can get to the topic of our world. I'm using Charlie as a training lesson, which is what Charlie did as well, so I can get to what the hell is up with our world. Now, again, pay attention. Don't get into questions. Don't get into theories. Just watch what happens when one of these goes off.
Focus on the man in the checked shirt. In a moment, he's on the floor, wounded in the midriff. A pager in his bag or on his belt has exploded.
Okay. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to be very candid. I'm asking you to clear your mind. I can't be 27 minutes into this telling you, clear your mind, let me do this, when somebody comes in and said, well, this was a coordinated time event operation to go after Charlie, and it doesn't jive with the narrative. Stop it. I'm trying to save as many lives as I can, even if I have to stop chat on Rumble. I cannot stress to you how critical this is. I cannot stress to you how much you have got to stop, even if you've been part of the family here. Even if you've been part of the family here. Stop. Stop. Please. Please. For this one singular episode. Stop. I have pulled the fucking car over. We're trying to get this short little jaunt down to grandma's house. And guys, you got to knock this shit off in the back seat. Please. Please. I'm begging you. That's how critical about what I'm going to show you. And here somebody says, you're not an expert either. Here you go. Ready? Fuck you. Bye-bye forever. Holy shit. I won't tolerate that. I won't tolerate that. Because if people would have held their tongue, part of, you see the bottom part here, a candid confession, you'd have found out a fucking lot more about me than you've ever known before. I have a limit. I will exercise that limit. Even if it means I just don't broadcast. I have a limit. Today's program is not just an episode. It's not entertainment. It's our country. I have a limit. I am at my limit. Most people only assume they know where I'm headed. I guarantee you, you have no idea where I'm headed. And that is why I'm asking you to have some grace. Everything, jokes, you name it, have some grace for this one thing. Have some grace for this one thing. It's so critical. And I don't know how else to say it. I thought I set it up well at the beginning of the program to tell you this is going to be me pouring my heart out to you to try to show you some things. Because it's so important, because we're coming down to the wire. The title of this program, as I gain my composure, please, is God Help Us. What have we become? And I'm giving you a candid confession. I'm not in a huff. I'm in distress. I'm in distress. I'm in distress because the evil is so deep, so strong, so powerful, even when I consider myself a great teacher. I am being rendered ineffective, which means I'm failing. And I don't like to fail. Wampanoag, thank you very much. And you're right. We all have to talk. We have to talk. That's why I'm trying to just share something to maybe show you what's underneath with everybody. Because we're on this boat ride to hell and it's accelerating. And we have to initiate dialogue. That's both the good and the bad of chat. It's my program, but chat can go where it wants to go. There's a part of me in doing this that's totally helpless. I don't like feeling helpless. Same reason I don't get drunk. I don't like being out of control. I don't like feeling helpless. I don't know what to do. Because it is the truth that sets us all free. But the needle's warped. The needle's warped. I can't even get through the setup to get you right to what the lesson really is. But you have to have these connective pieces to do it. Now, what we were talking about, right, is this fucking pager. That's not a pager. It's a microphone. And I showed you, watch, here's what it really looks like. Here's what it is. Here's how those pagers, when they were deployed to take out terrorists in a brilliant stroke of genius, here's how they work. Just watch. This is important to this discussion.
Focus on the man in the checked shirt. In a moment, he's on the floor, wounded in the midriff. A pager in his bag or on his belt has exploded. CCTV from another shop shows a man check his pager before it too blows up at his side. Scenes like this playing out hundreds of times across Lebanon within the space of an hour. A targeted, coordinated, highly technical attack.
These pagers exploded while people were on the road, going about their daily lives, basically, in supermarkets and hospitals, driving their cars, getting their kids from school. So it's a huge blow.
Hezbollah had reportedly switched communications from cell phones to pagers to bypass Israeli infiltration attempts. The Reuters news agency, citing security sources, reported the targeted pagers had been supplied just in the last 3 months.
Okay. Not even going to ask you. Doesn't matter what shape any of this was. It was not cylindrical. They do not make the Rhodes microphone cylindrical. Cool. That's not what they do. But I guess I'm never going to get this out as everybody keeps on offering flavors. What did you notice in those videos when it happened, which is the topic I'm talking about? It was a very smart, brilliant move to protect the country. But did you notice it blew massive holes in people? It blew off arms, it blew off legs, it blew out their guts. But there was also fire and powder burns, and that's an effect. That's an effect of the explosive required. Okay? Now, when there's a murder scene and police are attempting to when police are attempting to ascertain who's the shooter, what is the forensic test to find the shooter? What is the forensic test to find the shooter? They look for powder burns. Whether it's a bullet, whether it's a bomb, whether it's C4, any plastiques, there's always a powder burn. Plastics just have them jammed in it. God bless you, Coffee Gal. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. There is always powder burn. Okay? Powder burn. They're looking for residue. Now, are you with me so far? That's the only thing I want to talk about right now for a moment. Are you with me so far? Residue, powder burn. Now, what would be the hardest color fabric in the world people can't help it. Well, they didn't do any forensics. They didn't do this. Let me figure out. I don't know. I'm going to try to figure out how to shut down chat. Bear with me. I'm looking. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Now I'm doing it for my peace of mind. Now I'm doing it for my peace of mind. I'm going to have somebody else focus on it. We'll get it shut off. Okay. If you were looking for powder burns, you have to understand, in my studio, I can't ignore chat. And the part of the shit of being me is I see everything. Right? And now people are leaving. I'm out. Wow. Think about that. I'm trying to get you to a very important understanding of what really happened. And people have made the decision, I'm out. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. The system, right? If you can't go crazy and you can't go all over the places and sit and learn, which is exactly what they don't want you to do, I'm out. I want you to think of that. The number one, the worst cloth in the world to try to identify powder burns on is going to be a black cloth. The easiest one to identify powder burns and stuff on, right, is going to be white. Can we at least agree with that? Can we at least agree white is going to be the easiest thing to see the pattern burn on? And I'm taking you through all these questions. I'm helping you. Stuff that I find people not doing for themselves. And when you find out what's really going on, when you have the stick-to-itiveness, just to fucking stick to it and learn, your jaw's going to drop. I promise you. If you'll stick to it and learn. But if you will chase squirrels, you're lost, you're gone. And if too many of you chase squirrels, we're fucking dead. Period. Period. And people are question askers are being vilified. No, I'm not. I'm asking you to pause. The same thing you would ask a toddler barraging you with questions when you're trying to get them to, here you go, just do this. Let's just tie your shoe. Well, what about that bird? Just tie your shoe. Well, I saw a gun there the other day. See my toast? I made a dinosaur. Just stop. Just stop. Your life depends on it. And you're an adult and you can't, and you get offended. Think about that. See, that's what the system wants and needs. We can no more stop and focus and learn. We can't. That's why I said, God help us. What the hell have we become? Now you understand the God help us. What have we become? Chat is the reflection of what they did to us. So you do understand powder burns are easily revealed on white. So if somebody tried to assassinate somebody through a pillow, they have the powder burns. Do you understand that? Great, you understand that, okay? It's amazing how many people just can't leave their fingers silent for a moment. Okay, now, I'm going to show you something. It's disgusting. It's sinful. And it is a prime example of why we are not going to be able to save our country if we don't recognize this for what it is. Watch. I apologize up front.
Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk's assassin is caught on tape. Blake Bednar has brought us this video. We'll break it down. Take a look at this. Here it is from the wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his t-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode? Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went directly from underneath Charlie Kirk's white t-shirt up through his neck and created the exit wound that we told you was an exit wound immediately when we saw that exit wound. First we had exploding pagers, now we have exploding mics. Do you remember the vector analysis from John Bray?
Now we're going to deal with this because it gets us to what's really going on. We're going to deal with this because what it does is it gets us to where we have to get to understand what this war is about and why we're in such desperate trouble. Okay? Now, you probably noticed in all that horrible video that people have watched like a train wreck, no powder burns, no explosion. And many of you are buying into, they made the pager shoot a bullet. Last time I checked, that's up to 7 million views. Which is why we're in trouble. 7 million views of that crap. Telling you that Charlie Kirk was killed by his Israeli security team. Now, here's ballistics I want to show you. Is that okay? See, you already know this. You already know it. And you already know it because of the Zapruder film. You already know it. And you can go back and watch the Zapruder film over and 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 over. Right? Okay, Dobie, I want you to come on the program. The program's now yours, folks. I want you to welcome Dobie to the program because the object of today's program is the cylindrical shape. So, Dobie, I sent you a link. Come on. Dobie, join us. Dobie, D-O-B-B-I-E, D-O-56. Join us. The program is now yours. We're going to discuss the cylindrical shape. Okay? Dobie, I'm going to give you the platform. Here you go. Come on. Join us. We're going to discuss the cylindrical shape. We're not going to discuss why we're going to get killed here, but we're going to discuss the cylindrical shape. Now, you have to turn on your mic. You have to turn on your video. Please, everybody else, don't engage with it. Don't need your comments, don't need your humor, don't need whatever. Oh, Dobie says I can do it without you. Let me show you what I can do without you. You are permanently gone. Okay, now I can move on. All I had to do is to get to that point. Okay. Now, this is the ballistic analysis. Which way did Charlie fall? Which way did Charlie fall? If I'm Charlie and you're looking at me, a few things I need you to notice about Charlie. When he had the muscle contraction, his knees comes up, his hands comes up, and his hands curl. That's instant death. And he went like this, over and to the left, over and to the left. You got it? He went over and to the left. He was instantly dead. Okay. Now, in telemetry, what you understand that happens, and this is just a kind of a way you can look at it. You have impact. He went back, slumped to the left, back, slumped to the left, back, slumped to the left. The reason he went back, slumped to the left is because, the shooter was from above and forward. Period. It's physics. Now I'm going to share with you what this means. You can look it up on your own. I'm going to get off this so I can just go. But the impact of the bullet carries with it certain characteristics, okay? And you have to understand a few things: ballistic force, hydraulic shot, and what's called neuromuscular response. The first push comes from the bullet, which releases a kinetic energy. That kinetic energy never changes once it hits. And the moment it hits head or upper torso, right, it basically results in instant loss of muscle tone. The body goes limp. That is called the hydraulic shock. Now, what happens in physics is the body must respond on a neuromuscular response, right? They can stiffen if it's instant, right? But what happens if it extends is what you have is called the jet effect. Charlie was resting at the moment to his weaker side. His weaker side. And so what happened is he's resting. He put down the mic, right-handed, put down the mic to his weaker side. When that bullet hit him, the hydraulic and jet effect is what you're seeing on his shirt. Not somebody shooting from behind. And I'm going to wrap this up so quick so we can just get to what the real freaking story is. It's not somebody with a little gun and a cell phone gun. That is not what it is. It's not an exploding mic. No fire, no blast, no stippling, no nothing. Charlie was shot from the upper right. That the hydraulic action of that happens here, the hydraulic part of it that happens, because you cannot change once that trigger is fired, the ballistic force, the hydraulic shock, and the neuromuscular response. And it's 100% like it should be, where the shot came from and how it hit his body. Now, if that microphone, and I'll show that disgusting shit just one more brief time, you don't see the pieces. What you're watching is called hydraulic shot. It's the bullet's momentum. It's the bullet's momentum from above hitting Charlie and the shock wave that goes through the body. It's a shock wave, a massive ripple. It was just enough to create enough torque for the microphone, which is only connected by a light magnet. It's not you can't take it out and stitched in a shirt. It's just a magnet. They drop all the time. They can't have, just so you know, it's a microphone. You can't have too much magnetism. It interferes with the signal. So it's light enough just to hold the case, but not to interfere with the frequency. Nothing explodes. You don't see it explode through a shirt, but he tells you, see it? It exploded. Watch the lie.
Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk's assassin is caught on tape. Blake Bednar has brought us this video. We'll break it down. Take a look at this. Here it is from the wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his t-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode? Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went.
Did you see an explosion? Your own eyes. Did you see an explosion? Yes or no? Did you see hydraulic shot? Yes, you can see the ballistics, the hydraulic shot that goes through the body. It rumples everything, knock glasses off. It'll do all kinds of things. I watched a guy get hit head on by a car on his motorcycle. Killed him instantly. I was on an expedition. The guy had been behind me for miles and miles and miles. He went on ahead. As I come up onto a curve, instantly been a wreck. Right? He's sitting on his motorcycle. Hit head on. I get to the scene. He's dead instantly. The kid in the car had been on his pager, hit and killed this guy. Luckily, he didn't have children in the back seat. There were car seats, but didn't have it. I go to the guy. I know he's dead. I'm going to get a blanket and cover him. You know what was exposed? Other than his helmet had cracked, the fear on his face. His eyes were wide open, fear on his face. Do you want to know what the impact did? The impact of him being forced over the motorcycle ripped his pants in the crotch, ripped his underwear in the crotch, and his dick's hanging out. Now, people can make up all kinds of stories on that. But what that was hydraulic impact. And that's how violent it is. It ripped his blue jeans off and his underwear. And that's just from a head-on crash. There was no blood. That's how you tell somebody's killed instantly, right? Except if it's an artery. That's different. Nothing. That's impact. That's impact. If you're going to come on and talk about ricochet bullets, it's got to be a ricochet or whatever. You're gone. I'm just telling you, you're gone. That's not what we're discussing today. Okay? So in this one impact, I covered them up, helped police, directed traffic, the whole bit. That's what happens with the hydraulic afterwave shock of impact. Right? I've been blown out of my boots before in an explosion. My boots, not my tenny runners, not my sandals, not my moccasins. My boots stayed where I was. And that was just the shock wave of an explosion. It's the nature of physics. And you did not see an explosion happen. You were told an explosion happened. You did not see that. You did not see a bullet projectiling. You did not see fire or stippling or any of that. You didn't see any of that. You were told that, but you did not see it. I showed you exploding pagers from Israel. Now we're going to get to the meat, okay? You saw no powder burns. You saw nothing, okay? But you're told that. And the reason I'm doing that, your lying retard helicopter, if there were no bloods on the people's hands carrying Charlie. I've watched every bit of footage behind the scene as they're carrying his car. Their hands are covered in blood, and you can follow the blood trail on the ground. You're just repeating shit other people said. And you're saying, well, what caused that? What caused his shirt to puff up? Are you not fucking paying attention? I just told you what caused his shirt to puff up. See why we can't get anywhere? I can tell you. That's called ballistic force and hydraulic shock. And somebody says, well, I saw a shirt to puff up. I spend 10 minutes explaining ballistic force and hydraulic shock. And somebody says, but what caused his shirt to puff up? Oh, man. I'm going to mute you, helicopter guy, just for a minute. You can watch the videos behind the scene. There's blood dripping everywhere, but it's okay. It's okay. The topic we're having is, what is this play really about? That's the topic that's on. What is this play? I'm going to show you, Charlie, one more time, very briefly, so I can get past this stuff. Do you see an explosion? An explosion for an exploding mic that somehow also shot a bullet. By the way, Israel did exploding pagers, which I showed you. Now, how did they manage it to explode it where the explosion only goes this way? It doesn't explode everything around it, but it will shoot a bullet. Come on.
Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk's assassin is caught on tape. Blake Bednar has brought us this video. We'll break it down. Take a look at this. Here it is from the wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his t-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode? Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went direct.
Okay. You didn't see explosion. And what you saw in that was the hydraulic shock. Okay. Let's just stop talking about the mic because nobody can stop. Let's just stop talking about the mic. Now, there's a reason I show you this. I chose something very controversial, 7 million views. And I know it's controversial because you can't stop talking about it. You can't stop that. Well, maybe the ballistic was here. Well, maybe it had this. Well, maybe it was this. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. And everybody bitching in chat, knock it off, but mute. And if you don't have the strength to do it, I'll help you out for this broadcast. Okay? There was no explosion. Now, the reason I play that Stuart Peters video for you is because 7 million people have now gone off on this dialogue. 7 million people. Stop arguing in chat. 7 million people. 7 million people have watched that video, and it has now taken on a life of your own. And you're taking it from this guy. The person who is telling you what happened is a fellow that you might not have known a decade and a half ago, okay, at First Avenue 7th Street entry. Focus. Oh, what a play on words. Focus. Let me show you, because you don't know, who Focus, somebody who knows how to focus. I know how to focus. You ever listen to Focus, the rapper? Let me play a little Focus for you.
Make it, Stuart. You're gonna make it, my special boy.
Devastated, a lifetime just wasted. Bitterness has been tasted because I never made it. My family devastated, a lifetime just wasted because I never made it.
No regrets, right? It's just something people say to be nice, specifically the ones you dial when you're faded at night. Drunk talk like, come and see me, man, I'll pay for your flight. You gotta hear this new shit I'm on, the video's right. Dog, I've been talking to record labels, investors, promoters, and the future looks real bright for Focus. We're planning on shows in the tropics. I'm talking Grammys and Oscars. Halftime for football and in the ring with them boxers. They're gonna know the name Stuart Peters. From the grassroots music to influence on big screens and movie theaters. I'm finally gonna live that dream. It's worth the thin times I went through to make a difference in these little kids' lives. And then the shock hit when I opened my eyes. And now I know this whole episode I've been hypnotized. The extinguisher's been deployed. The fire inside of me is slowly burning out. Now I realize that I'm a
failure, never made it.
Let me ask you a question. Did I say if you're a failed rapper, you don't know what you're talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Did I say if he's a failed rapper, therefore he does not know what he's talking about? I just got a question for you. Did I utter those words? If he's a failed rapper, he does not know what he's talking about. I just want you to put in chat if I said that. Yes or no? I didn't say that. So let me tell you how this works. Grass Guy put in, let me get this straight. Because he's a failed rapper, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then the second part was, it's disappointing, Jovan. I thought you were better than that. You have a whole audience here that can tell you I didn't say that. But I'm going to give you a gift. You're gone forever. I apologize that we can't cohabitate. Okay. So I'm giving you background. I never said he can't do anything because he's a failed rapper. Never said that. Never said that. Ever. Not at all. Not at all. The first thing I'm trying to do is give you some background. Now, that video that 7 million people have watched of that horrible analysis is the most offensive thing you can imagine to Erica, family, and everything else. But see, it's not designed to tell the truth in any way. Not at all. It's not designed to tell the truth. It's designed to get clicks. Now, my issue, hang on. You think my issue's with Stu. Not at all. But see, I don't tolerate weak fucking minds. You have to, I beg, listen and learn. My issue is not with Stu. Stu has a total right to run his business any way he sees fit. Every sinner has a future. Every saint has a past. Period. My issue is not with Stu. I don't approve of it, but it's his show. I don't approve of it, but it's his show. Now, that's his choice. His choice, and he's been successful at it. In his rap video from 13 years ago, he tells you, I'm going to be a star. People are going to look at me. I'm going to make movies. I'm going to do this. And he did. He made a movie on Died Suddenly and other stuff. Stu has legitimately been successful. The reason I'm doing this is not because of Stu. It's something else. Okay? And it's something about broadcasting. So most of you don't know that Stu was focused. That was his one foray to try to be famous. And people never check it. And Stu has told you it's the Jews. He was killed by his Israeli team. It's the Jews. It's the Jews. Stu has been wildly successful. Kudos to him. Kudos to him. The next question I ask is, okay, what are we looking at when we see something like Stu? And you can insert any person in there. Candace, you name it. Stu's background, basically, right? He was born in 1980, April 1st. In his teen years, he was arrested for stealing stereo equipment from Radio Shack. In the 2000s, as a younger adult, he was a rapper, right? 2000s to 2015. Now, that is not that long ago. You understand that. That's not that long ago. When we all started talking about what's up in elections, he basically worked as a bounty hunter, did some things questionably. Even Minnesota changed its law for it, but he got many charges during that time. When we're first starting to talk about Donald Trump, including charges of impersonating a police officer, unlawful use of police style and lights, low-level robbery, right? Some of the charges were dropped, some weren't. He was basically fugitive recovery, Minnesota and Florida. He shifted. When all of this became hot in 2020, he started doing a podcast and he took off and he rose to prominence with COVID-19, telling you all kinds of stuff from it. That is it. That's it. Stu's been successful, wildly successful. So I'm not saying Stu is bad because he was a failed rapper like Grass Guy. I'm saying Stu doesn't have the background to allow him to do forensics, understand forensics. So Stu made a decision. Stu's decision was to get into podcasting. When he got a little dose of podcasting, he flexed a little bit. You saw it. You just not recognize what you're seeing. Somebody who knows their stuff focuses on their stuff and brings you consistency. Other people will go, it's elections this day. It's, I infiltrated Antifa this day. It's, COVID. It's save the J6ers. I'm a hero for they boom, boom, boom. They're trying to find what gets them the most clicks, the most views. They're trying to find what gets them the most clicks and the most views, because that's their business. They're in this game of podcasting, clicks and views, and it's their new income. Most of them, you don't find any background, right, that would lead them to this. They stumbled onto something, they did it. He's a performer. Kudos to him. He's done fantastically well. But see, I'm having a discussion about God and morals. And if you don't have strong morals, the system will corrupt you with money. They'll even pay you money to spread shit. This kind of brings me to where I'm headed finally, so you can understand all of this. I'm going to give you a few other pieces, okay? And then I'm going to give you the hardcore facts you can investigate for yourself. First off, let's hear from Bibi on what Stu was spreading and other people. Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life, it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or a decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen. Now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this: Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
Now, for me, this is about honor. I told you this was about me, but it's also about God. And I'm alarmed. I'm alarmed because in this squirrel chase, people can't see the truth, right? I was going to read the letter to Bibi from Charlie. I'm not going to do it. I'll post it with you. You can read it. Charlie, staunch supporter of Israel and Bibi. Charlie was the one convincing him to bring in influencers to help him out. I'm not going to go into that letter. People took where Charlie was talking about what somebody else had posted. He was saying it. They cut it in a way where it looked like Charlie was saying it. It's all propaganda. This is where we're going to get to the meat of this freaking matter. I only have one more video to show you, and then I'm going to show you what all of this is about. Why I've begged, while I've begged everybody to focus. By the way, when the grass is burned, I don't care about the grass. Don't comment about the grass anymore. Don't waste anybody else's time in chat. Thank you. I love you, but don't do it. So we're going to focus. You got it? We're going to focus. I will give you that 8-page letter from Charlie. You can read it for yourself. But this was about the thing that Israel killed Charlie. Right? Here's what we are. And I'm telling you, God help us. This show has been a prime example of how people can't focus. This has been a prime example that we're all fucking chasing squirrels. A prime example, we can't focus, we can't learn, and they've got us running 1,000 fucking directions. And I'm going to show you why. And then you will understand my plea, God help us. Here is where Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Now, even Candace, big followers, she was trying to lead you to believe Charlie was against Israel. It was all a con. All this stuff is a fucking con. And you can read the letter. We'll post it. But I want to show you where Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel came from.
Some of these passages is never enough for you. You see, it doesn't matter how critical journalists are about Israel. It will never be enough for you because you want the right. You want the right to suggest that Charlie Kirk was the subject of a hit job by Israel. You want the world to think that. That's why you said what you said, and that's why when I asked you, you went, Netanyahu says it wasn't him.
By the way, I'm not even the only one. People are actually, here's the thing. If you continue lying to your people, right? I'll tell you what. Let's call me a conspiracy theorist, right? Yeah. Call me someone who is illogical. Call me whatever you want. If your government continues to lie to you consistently, this is where conspiracy theorists thrive. If you're not transparent,
why do you want to be one of them?
If you want to cover, no. I'm not saying I'm one.
Why?
Of them.
Why float a mad conspiracy theory about Israel?
Because it's the internet, and I'm a comedian.
Okay, but it's not that funny, though, is it?
Actually, a lot of people thought it was very funny.
You have millions, I'm sure they did, but millions of people follow you, and you want them to think that Israel was behind the murder of Charlie Kirk. And you call me an ill-informed, irresponsible journalist.
Yeah, because I'm not a journalist. I'm a comedian. Remember, I'm a clown. I
don't think you're a clown.
That's what I do. Oh, I'm a clown. Actually, I'm a comedian. Comedians are actually overpaid.
But I think
clowns.
you're somebody who is so blindly hateful of all things Israel that you'll even promote a conspiracy.
There is the start of that story. One little seed gets planted, gets amplified, and everybody runs with it. Now we're going to get to the why, right? The why. I've shown you where it came from. That's empirical source number one for that claim. I'm not going to read you Charlie's letter. You can read it on your own, do your own research, see it. He loved Israel, was working with Israel, trying to help Israel fight this stuff about Gaza, Palestinian, Hamas, and all this other crap that's going on college campuses. But right now, we've got this epidemic in America, conservative podcasters, people that swear I infiltrated Antifa, got people sued for billions. Now they're Jew haters. It's the Jews. It's all manipulation. It's all grand manipulation. But I want you to understand why I say, God help us. Because you might not understand what's up. Okay. Can you agree that Charlie Kirk, right? That Charlie Kirk and his assassination made people come back to their faith? Can we agree on that one principle? What happened, what you saw all across the United States of America, was people seeing a good man gunned down and people rethinking their relationship with God in a very serious way. You saw it in his memorial. You saw it everywhere. People, right, all over the place. Churches reported attendance through the roof. Now, what you need to understand is that's the antithesis of what's been happening for 8 years. Now, here's what I mean. For the last 8 years, it will actually spend about 10 years. For the last 10 years, across the world, people, quote unquote, being Christians, has been dropping, and it dropped past the 25% tile mark. Means 4 people that a decade out of 4 people over the last decade, one of the 4 cleaved away from Christianity. So Christianity is on a rapid decline. Next, one of the other effects is you've seen a rash of churches being burned and attacked. Now, all of this is a cause and effect of, and I just want you to focus on, because this is the pivotal moment, right? This is the pivotal moment. It's just a pause. It's just a 4-minute pause. That's all it is. Just a pivotal moment to pause. They had worked so much psychological warfare on our kids and on universities and everything else. They were successfully cleaving people away from faith, cleaving people away from God. All around the world, Christians are being murdered. You're not hearing about that. Now, most people don't understand communism and or the New World Order, okay? Communism, people think, is a politics. It is not. Communism is a religion. You can look it up on your own. And in the religion of communism, everything belongs to all the people. Kumbaya, share, everybody's equal, all this other stuff. You don't get to decide what your career is going to be or whatever. It's all to benefit, quote unquote, the state, the nation. That's communism. Communism has always failed. It highlights some when you look at it, you understand it teaches there is no God. The God is the government. Meaning the elite, the people that get in, become the God. That is communism. That's where both Marxism, fascism, that's where all of it leads. They've got to cleave people from God. Okay? Maybe I made a mistake in using Charlie as the example, but you'll understand here in a second. Because everybody kind of wants to talk. Was it a professional hit? Was just, that's not the point. So what happened is something that evil meant for wrong, for bad, backfired. And it backfired spectacularly. See, what a one world government does, what North Korea and stuff does, what these things do is they eliminate all religions. All religions. They eliminate them all. The religion is the state. The leaders are your gods. Now, this brings me to how does all this connect? Okay? Now, I want you to think for a moment. How many of your friends, family, podcasters, etc. Sorry for the thumbs down, guys. I said I would mute, and the mutes are only 5 minutes. I would mute if you just couldn't stop and focus. It's some were personal, some aren't. You just got to understand what's up. And I love you to death. Just understand what's up. Do you believe that over all of these years that they have been trying to destroy the family unit and they have been trying to destroy women having babies, married families, right? Can we agree that that attack has gone on? Yes or no? Really simple. Can we agree that they've been trying to destroy the family unit? They've been trying to destroy marriage. They've been trying to destroy babies, having big families. Well, they've been doing it very successfully. Can we agree? In process of doing that very successfully, all the things that made society great, like having freedom and having liberty, right? And having the right to come up with your own companies and everything else. They made capitalism bad. They made white being bad. all of that. Those are all attacks to separate people. But at the heart of it, basically is killing God. Killing God. Now, can we agree that when doctors tell you your baby was born trans and we've got to take off her forearm skin and make her a penis and cut off her boobs, or your little boy is really a girl, we know, because we know what they are, that these guys are playing God? Can we agree that the system has begun to play God? Can we agree with that on that comment? Do you think that's actually happened? Okay. So part of what's going on is the cleaving from God. Now, you've watched this happen. It's happened in Europe. Europe is almost totally gone from God. Look at what Europe's getting. You get arrested in Europe if you even silently pray on the street, or you tell somebody God has to save you, whatever, or if you're in an abortion clinic, if you're even standing outside an abortion clinic, and if you say a prayer, even if you say it silently, that you're praying for that baby's soul or praying for that mom not to do that, you go to prison. They've killed it. Now that's coming here. Now I've told you the plan has always been chaos. The plan has always been chaos, because what's going on now is if you're a Christian, you're the bad guy. If you believe in God, you're the bad guy. Okay? Sharia law has been taking over in Europe, and it's coming to the United States, but it's all a cleaving from God. Now, why do I say God help us? Because they will say, if you're a Christian, you're bad, but Sharia law, well, you're a Muslim, that's good. That is all called color revolution. It's all a swap. It's a swap to divide and conquer. Now, let me remind you of something. Here's the question. Was the American legal system, we're just going to talk about our laws first, which is my whole point. Pay attention. Was the American legal system founded on English common law, or was it founded on Hebrew Jewish law? Which one? Now, this is the American legal system I'm talking about right now. Were we founded on English common law or etc.? Founded. I'm not talking about some elements that were we founded on common. We have some common law, but what were we founded on? Common law or Hebrew law, Jewish law? We were founded on Hebrew Jewish law. And most people can't even answer that. Everybody thinks it's English common law. That is not correct. That is so far from the actual truth because they've started not to teach it. Basically, what it's called is called Mosaic foundations. If you had to describe the Bible, the Word, if you had to describe the Bible, the Word, what is the Bible? The Bible is inherently two things. What are the two things the Bible is? Put it in chat. Now you can chat away. The Bible is two things. What is it? And I'm not looking for God's word or whatever. There's two parts of the Bible. What are the two parts of the Bible? Everything that founded this country comes from the Bible. Everything. You're not getting what I'm saying. You ready? Old Testament, New Testament. Old Testament, New Testament. Old Testament, New Testament. What was the Old Testament? Thank you, holdover soul. You're the only one that actually got it and put it in there. Inherently, the Bible is the Old Testament and the New Testament. That's it. It's old and new. Now, what is the Old Testament? Where does it come from? The Old Testament is Hebrew, Jewish, period, over and out. Jewish law, Jewish history, using Jewish and Hebrew and everything together. Now, where did the New Testament come from? Where did the New Testament come from? People think it's from the disciples of Christ, but sadly, people don't know the true difference. They'll tell you it's Paul, but it's actually somebody writing in the name of Paul who had been dead for 100 years. The New Testament is brought to you by the Roman Empire or the Roman Catholic Church. So you have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament. And I'm not getting into a biblical discussion at the moment. People think it was Christ's disciples. No. You can look at the timeline in the beginning of your Bible. We're talking hundreds of years later. When it all became a Bible is pushing close to 500 years later. But that's not my point. One is Hebrew Jewish law. One is Roman Catholic Church. It is two different things put together. Okay? Period. We're not going to talk about all, there's so much stuff out there, right? But I just want you to understand. So if we called one side Judeo and we called one side Christian, what are we as a nation? What type of nation are we? You've heard this before, you know the answer. If one side is Judeo and one side is Christian, both have equal books, right? 66 books, 33 and 3. Put them together. We are a Judeo-Christian country. Can you agree that we are a Judeo-Christian country? Yes or no? Okay. So what do we get from the Judeo part that helped form our country? Well, the first thing we get is we get the 10 Commandments, which you have to understand are so freaking perfect. Jewish law was thousands of laws. But when it came down to the 10 Commandments, when Moses asked God, burning bush, who are you? And he says, I am, I am. There it is emblazoned right there on my arm, folks. Because when you write the name of God on even a document, you can't throw it away. That's why it's on my body, not to throw away the gifts I've been given. So the basis of the laws for our nation, the fundamental laws come first from the 10 Commandments. It is called the Mosaic Foundation. And it is the moral backbone of Western civilizations. They're reinforced with dialogue, they're reinforced with natural laws, but I'm talking about the basis of it. It is what forms, it is the one thing that forms Western civilization. Now, the next part is called covenant theology. This is a very important part of how our country, you see, my program wasn't about Stu Peters, was it? My program wasn't about Charlie Kirk, was it? You'll understand in a minute why I'm sharing this with you, okay? But the second part of that's called covenant theology. This Hebraic issue is inherently fundamental to who we are as Americans. Now you understand why they take 10 Commandments out of school. In covenant theology, which the Puritans, by the way, founding our country, leaving prosecution. And why were they persecuted? Why were the Puritans persecuted? Because they said, we have a direct covenant with God. We have a direct connection with God. Why did the person named Jesus get killed? Because he said, you have a direct connection with God. It is the combination of the 10 Commandments, Judeo part, the combination of covenant theology, Judeo part, that formed something very unique in the world. There's only been one like it. And it's called constitutionalism. Now, first off, can we agree they're taking God out of schools? Taking 10 Commandments out of school? They've told you the Constitution's outdated. Those two things are what formed constitutionalism, which is a government that is bound by a higher law. I'm going to repeat that. Government that is bound by a higher law. It's exactly the opposite of what they're trying to do, to say government is law. It is not. That's why you hear phrases like our God-given rights. It is the Judeo part of our combined heritage that formed another very special document. If we can agree that 10 Commandments is incredibly unique, to get it down to 10, you got to see how history repeats itself, and you get more incredibly manifested things that are out of this world but strong. And what is that? Number one, it's our Constitution. Number two, it's how our nation rose and became the mega superpower it is. It all stood for good. It all stood for, we have a government that is bound by a higher law. Now, all of that comes from the Judeo side. Now, next, in it, when you look at Jewish law and the rule of law, now you got to understand, we're the anomalies as Americans. No other countries have been able to do this in the history of time. But we broke free. Kings, queens, BS rulers, to have freedom and liberty. We are a country, the only country created out of everything that was fucked up. Every other country in the world, 189 of them, were created as the result of kings and ruling class. We are the only country in the world formed out of a government based on God's law, the 10 Commandments, and that the government is bound by a higher law. Now, if you just look at our country from that filter, it's why we've kicked ass. It's why we have all these freedoms. It's why we're not going to jail for saying Muslims are bad when they kill somebody. You understand? Now you're starting to get the picture of how really unique we are. Because we're off the charts unique when it comes to America. Now, in Mosaic law, which we got from our Hebraic roots, right? It was the underpinning principle of American notions that people and rulers, meaning the governed and the governors, are subject to the same exact laws. That's called the Mosaic part of our Old Testament. You'll find this in Deuteronomy. You can do your own research. What it clearly says is equality before the law. Other countries do not have that. When you get arrested in Europe for saying these fucking Muslims are raping our daughters on social media and they put you in prison for 2 years, equality is not before the law. So now you have to see how all of this is coming together. I'm giving you, so hang on. So we have this higher law that we're ruled by, our Jewish law, our Hebraic roots. Also that comes from our Jewish laws that form our country it's called due process and testimony. It's amazing how many people don't know this stuff, right? The reason we have, also in Deuteronomy, the reason we have due process and testimony is because in order to be convicted in Jewish law, you have to have 2 witnesses. In a conviction of a capital case, you have to have 2 witnesses. What are you seeing happen in our courts? They won't allow witnesses, and they're railroading people to prison. See, that's the opposite of how we're founded. So even from our Jewish roots, we get due process and testimony. That's where it comes from. You know what else we get from our Jewish roots? This comes from the Torah, but it's also Exodus 22. You might not even know it because you don't know your history. You don't know how we're intertwined. From that same thing, you get restitution over retribution. Restitution over retribution. It means you get made whole for that property damage or property theft or whatever the case may be over vengeance. That also comes from the Old Testament. Now, granted, we have some common law influence. It's basically called the indirect transition, where in the laws they started mucking with them. Indirect transition is what it's called. Then we have another thing which was called the natural rights transition. But I want you to understand where our laws, our system, our constitution, and everything comes from. Okay? All of this that our country was found on come from Judaism, Mosaic law. That's it. Even if you were to look at all of our ancient colonial statutes, that is what made our nation great. We got 2 other things from this, and you might not even know what they're named. And yes, God says vengeance will be his. Because we basically say that our lawmakers have to abide by the same laws as us, which is unique in our country, folks. Basically, what happens is our covenant, our Constitution is also a covenant. When you look at the Hebraic covenants with God, our Constitution is also a covenant not only with God, but between God and his people. Our founders knew this. And by the way, the majority of them were not Christians. Most people don't even know that. Our founding fathers were learned, deep thinkers that came from persecution, that lost everything to found this country, fighting the world's biggest superpower at the time. And most of them were deists. They weren't Christians. But what they understood, if we're going to do this right, if we're going to make it work, if it's going to be long lasting, and they lost everything for this country. They understood Jewish Hebraic law is it, and our Constitution must also be a covenant between God and his people, because this Constitution is God and his people. Therefore, they created what's called the higher law doctrine. That's why we have it. Nobody's above the law, and we answer to a higher power. We're the only ones that have it. It also gave us our systems of checks and balances, which we have. What's the systems of checks and balances? You learned this in both Samuel 1, you learn it about the kings, and it was warning against concentrated power. And when you look at all the framers of everything in our country and Montesquieu and everybody else, they said we cannot allow concentrated powers to take over. So we have to devise a system of divided powers. And that divided powers and that answering to a higher power changed everything. Okay? So here's what I want you to know. All we've done right now is I've covered 1/2 of the book you know as the Bible and related it to you. How did that help form our country? Okay? Because it gave us everything. It gave us the covenant. It gave us the nationhood. Who were the people that say, right? That say we are entitled to our nation. We are entitled to have freedom. We are entitled not to be enslaved. And God promised us we would be free. God made a covenant with us that we would be free and we'd have liberties and we can rule ourselves. Jay Zach, thank you so very much for that generous tip. Who were the people that fought for that? Well, you know them as the Jews, people from Israel. You know, they went through it, through Exodus, Deuteronomy. Those Jews, through Exodus and Deuteronomy, is what inspired the Puritans and the Pilgrims to go find their destiny, answer to God, have pure laws where nobody's above the law, have your land and be free. What did, at that time, those people refer to our country as? Put it in chat. When all of this was going on and this founding was going on and we're setting up our nation, what was our nation called? What is our nation? It's not even the land of the free. It's not even the free world. It had a name that it's not even the new world. That's from the other side. It had a name that was referred to at the time. Not even the colonies. That's not right. What did they believe? What did they refer to it as? You got it. You got it. The New Israel or the New Jerusalem. You see, the United States of America was founded on the prophecy that a new Jerusalem, a new shining city on a hill, as Reagan referred to, the new Israel will come to be, another one, and will thrive. If you look at our American Revolution, going against the largest superpower in the world at the time, England, that's why we're referred to, just like the Bible, the land of milk and honey. There you go. See, so the America, I believe it, I know it. We are the new temple. We are the new Israel. We are the new Jerusalem. Have been. But if you go back in time, contextual time, where all the colonists always referred to what we were doing as the new Israel. And they adopted Jewish and Hebrew laws to have a system of justice that they needed over these oppressed rulers. See, they learned from the worst. They didn't learn from the best. They learned from the worst by getting their asses kicked, getting enslaved, getting beat up, raped, robbed, everything taken away from you, which went on for thousands of years. And that's what our country was founded upon. So the colonists would tell you we are New Israel. But if you even go back to our American Revolution, because most people don't know their history, when we're fighting the superpower in the world, was it we didn't have people? And yes, in the French Revolution, they threw out God and they lost their country. You know what we didn't have in the United States of America, which wasn't the United States of America? Money to prosecute a war. But two things happened. Number one, somehow this ragtag country found an incredible amount of money to finance weapons, to train people, to get them together. We weren't just pitchforks and everything else like when in Europe. We found money. And we were fighting a godly war for our right to exist. And we were fighting the world's superpower. But we won. Now, the first part of that you should get, we won because God was on our side. I 100% believe that. God was on our side, and we founded this country. We got it done. And we fought the world's most evil superpower, who right now, if you say something against the Muslims and are enacting Sharia law, you're going to jail. Mr. Hader, thank you so very much for that generous tip. Thank all of you guys for doing it. But one other thing happened. We found the money. Where did that money come from? The money to arm our men and women, to get gun barrels made, to get weapons made, to get people out there fighting for this country. Where did the money come from? The Jews. One Jewish funder for the United States of America. He was a Jew in America, changed everything. He died very poor. He gave everything to win that war. It's God first. And here we are. And we succeeded. Now, if you look at that, you got to understand, in all of that covenant model, it basically gave us these things for social contracts, the constitutional system, etc. It basically made our law above kings. Others didn't have that. That comes from the Torah, that the kings must answer to God. We are the only country founded that no one is above the law. All of this gave us our checks and balances, our equality, our moral codes, our liberty and responsibility. Gave every bit of it. Jewish doctrine. Now, let me ask you a question. And I'm closing with these two. If the world, evil powers, have to cleave us from God, if the world's evil powers have to make us turn away from God, have to tell us little boys can be little girls because it's better than God, that government now believes it answers to no one. We answer to the government. What do they have to do? What is another way to do it outside of military invading your country? And I've told you, one of the reasons they can't do it is because we have that Second Amendment, which no other country has or had at the time. You don't learn this in school. But I've always told you, our last standing right is the Second Amendment. They're already working on the first, but they got to get rid of the Second Amendment. This is why they don't teach it in school. And that means we have the rights to own weapons. Now, what is the second right answer? What is the second right answer of if you want to destroy the country, what should you do? And I'm just going to tell you what this one is. You have to make people turn away from God. How do you weaken their belief system in God? Two things. You eliminate the people that talk about God, and you eliminate the godly foundation that your country was founded on. Because if you think white supremacy is a bad call, what the fuck do you think is it's the Jews? It takes that Bible and it cleaves it directly in half. You get convinced that the Jews are behind this. You get convinced the Jews are evil. You get convinced the Jews are puppeting everything. You're going to fucking cut them off. And what did you do? You just cleaved 50% of the Bible. Because you can be a Christian, but if you're a Christian and you fucking think that the Jews are bad, you just dumped all the laws, all the ethics, all the morals, all the rules, and the very thing that created our country. You understand how it works now? Do you understand how this works? And if you can cleave them from God, right? If you can cleave them from God, what do we become instead of what we really are, which is a republic? Do you understand? You're not even taught this in school. Do you know what all of these things I just taught you are in teaching doctrine? They're called the Republican principles. You think it's a political party. No. It's a set that made us what we are, a constitutional republic. Through your filter, you think it's a party, but the reason we work is called constitutional Republican policies and principles. Now, if they can turn you, if they can twist your brain because you're weak and they're coming at you with everything and trying to tell you the Jews did it, if they can cleave you from the Jews, they're one step closer to cleaving you from God. Because what happens is when you embrace, it's the Jews, you begin to cleave because you don't want any fucking part of that. I cleave from the Republican Party because it's bullshit. They're a uniparty. There are no Republicans. And most people don't even know what a Republican means. But see, if they can cleave you from that, they get to cleave you from what? They get to cleave you from the Constitution. They get you to cleave you from everybody's equal and we all answer to a higher God. You understand what they're cleaving? You understand what the whole plan is? This has always been the fight between good and evil. This is what the fight is about. This is why it's gone to the part of it's the Jews and why they turn everything and they pay people to give you that shit. And that was my issue with Stu. He doesn't understand what he's really creating because he's so shallow. He's going for the clicks. When he doesn't understand our history, why we worked and what it is and what it really means. Not only what it really means to be a Republican and have Republican principles, and I'm not talking the political party, but how we all became this to begin with. And so at its base, if you start turning on Jews, you basically are going to cleave the part of the Bible, that whole half of the Bible, which is our combined Jewish history, that gave us the most perfect document we have based on the most perfect laws made, the 10 Commandments. We cleave from our Constitution. What does the system tell us? The Constitution is old, outdated, out of fashion. It no longer applies. Do you get it yet? Oh, by the way, let me end with this. If you cleave from the Jews, because now let's just look at it. If we got a Bible, folks, and one half of that Bible is our Jewish history that set our laws, set our courts, set our belief system that nobody, it's equality, everything else they say we don't have, equal under the law, and we all answer to God. We swear before God. We take our oath before God. If we cleave that away, what's left? Well, what's left is the New Testament, which is Christianity. But are they going to stop there? No. Let me tell you why they're not going to stop there. When you cleave from the Jews and you think the Jews are evil, the Jews are doing this, the Jews are pulling the strings, the Jews are what's everything gone bad, who else do you cleave from? Put it in chat. Let's say you're beginning to think it's the Jews. You're sharing that bullshit. It's the Jews. The Jews killed Charlie Kirk. As we have this revival. If you cleave from the Jews, what else do you cleave? Naturally, you're cleaving God, but for Christians, there's one thing you're cleaving. Naturally, it's God, but that's not what I'm talking about. You're cleaving from Jesus. Now, think about that, Christians. I've never hidden the fact I'm a Jew. I've never hidden the fact that I'm a Messianic Jew. But when you cleave from Israel and you accept this shit and you keep on repeating it, and you've now divested yourself from law and order, our perfect Constitution and everything else, what you don't understand, besides the commandments, besides the rule of law, besides a higher power, God, they cleave you from Jesus. And who was Jesus? A Jew from the family of David. What did Jesus practice? Judaism in the synagogue. What was his teaching context? See these systems? See this taxation shit? See the hoops they're making you jump through? It's all false. It's all fake. You have a direct connection to God. What were the apostles? Jews. Where did they pray? The temple, the synagogue. The only thing they believed that was different than anything else, that Jesus was the Messiah. Now, you got to understand that in Jewish context, so was Noah, so was Ezekiel, etc. But see, if they get this Jew thing through, not only do you cleave from our Constitution, you cleave from our laws, you cleave from our divine path that even made this work. You cleave from nobody's above the rule of law. You cleave from even the governors and kings and everything else must answer to God. You cleave, if you are a Christian, from the very founding of your faith and the one who brought you salvation. Do you understand the weakening context of why they're hitting so hard on the Jews? And now think about how many supposed Republicans and Christians are mirroring and feeding you that shit because they're weak and they don't even know their history. Do you now why I say God help us? Do you now understand why I say God help us? Do you now understand what we have become? Do you now understand why my soul hurts? Do you now understand the first part of this program? People wanted to fucking chase squirrels all over the place on this Charlie Kirk stuff and couldn't get to the understanding of what it really is and how evil that is. And how evil this amplification that people are getting paid for. It's the Jews. Oh, Charlie spoke out in the Jews, so Israel killed them. Do you understand where we are on this line? People in my own chat that have been here forever were so fucking weak when I said, knock it off. Let's stay on topic. Let me get to it. You understand what I'm saying? Well, I'm out of here. That is what we've been trained to do. God help us. God help us. We are in trouble. God help us. God help us. We have lost our way. God help us. They have finally set so much in motion that even good people who have solid training and solid minds and think they have solid convictions are beginning to doubt and turn away. And this scares me. I watch these same bullshit dialogues about exploding pagers and stuff at some of the highest rank in the world. People you cherish, that you know are good patriots, and they're having doubts. And they don't even see what's going on. Everybody thinks it's a tornado or a hurricane. Folks, it comes in the night like a mist. You know that. You know that. It creeps along the ground like a mist, a little at a time. Yet here we are. And we share this shit, and we amplify it, and we discuss it. But what if? Maybe it wasn't this, and it was really a circle under there, and that was a gun barrel. You have been hijacked by demons. And it's the demon of bad thinking. It's the demon of doubt. It's the demon of not being educated, not knowing how all this works. See, nobody takes the time to explain how divine we really are and why the rest of the fucking world hates us and why Satan needs us to go down. But I get called all kinds of things. You're a grift. You're this, you're that. I see the evil clearly, folks. I knew what was going on in Arizona. And the same people that told you it was a freaking grift are now basically telling you, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. He's a Jew, it's the Jews. because everything in this system is designed to keep you away from the truth. It is a battle every damn day. I give you my all because all is on the line. And Satan wants to destroy America and Israel. They are bound at the hip because in doing it, you destroy Judeo-Christian. This is why they attack me. And they take good people, repeating rumors, sharing crap, buying into this, the Jews. It is no different than the audit we did because they work under cover of night, folks. They expect you not to look. They willingly give us the finger, and while we're not watching, they change everything because they're here to control us. We have to get past this slavery. This is a spiritual world you cannot imagine. And humbly, I come to you. My life's work in this audit has to survive, just like our Constitution has to survive. It has to survive. It's all about survival. Folks, we're in trouble. Even good people have been hijacked. You've been hijacked when you raise a finger and you amplify these people. You've been hijacked. You are adding to the problem of killing our nation. Even when you actually don't even investigate these theories, you believe it and share it, you have been hijacked by the demon of doubt. It's why my rules and standards are so freaking rigid. It's part of what gives me a bad name because I have just hardcore standards. But I think I understand intensely what we're going to lose. The world needs us to get this straight. God's testing us. We have free will. God's testing us in this free will. And by keeping you frenzied, keep you in chaos, you stay in survival mode, and you can't think straight, and you begin to chase all this shit. And it's why I don't amplify it. It's why I don't have these people on. It's why I don't entertain it. And why I spend so long trying to unpack it. You now know what it's about. God, help us. Please. Please, God, help us.
Fight for free and fair elections, invent and scan the ballots of kinematic artifact detection. You love to read and learn, travel and explore. You're a fearless, braveheart patriot who's opened doors. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right in the battle for our nation. You lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us, here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day, and we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior.